Hey, welcome back to another video. This week it might be a little bit different. The past few weeks I've actually pre-recorded the videos. I was just getting started with something new, so I just pre-recorded them. Back now, these are all making them the week of these videos. And today we're going to talk about using AWS DynamoDB with Node.js, and we're going to get into that in just a second. We'll be following just a Medium post. It will kind of explain and walk you through everything. In addition to me doing it on my own computer. I just want to say that big shout out. I hit 1,000 subscribers actually back in March. This is a big moment for me. I appreciate the support. Please subscribe if you're not. It does mean a lot. And however, you know, I mentioned this before. I'm supporting my channel by selling t-shirts. So if you look at my screen, I have this link here. This is a t-shirt I am currently selling. Put a link down in the description. I'd really appreciate it if you went and purchased one to support the channel. But with that, let's get started. So in this video, if you don't know what AWS DynamoDB, it's essentially a NoSQL scalable option on Amazon, and you can find it right on the AWS website. And you can find it under storage. Databases, sorry, under databases, and you can see here, so it's a fast, flexible, NoSQL database service for any scale, and so you only pay for what the throughput you use. The nice thing about it is you can actually develop rate locally, and so we'll actually start with that first. So I've included this link in the description. This is a Medium post. I wrote this. I always like writing the Medium post to go along with the videos, just in case you like to copy, you want to copy and paste and things like that. So getting started with this, we're going to need this link here. You can find it in the description. You can find it right here. We're going to head to master, and then we're going to head actually over to DynamoDB. And I'm going to download. I'd recommend you clone. I'd appreciate if you start the repo as well. I'm going to unzip it. I'm going to be working right on my desktop, so DB demo is what I'm going to call it. Open up my MERN boilerplate, copy, drag and drop, and close that. I'm going to be done with that. And next I'll need to actually open this project up in a text editor like Atom or Sublime or something like that. So I'm going to use Atom. So I've opened up the project here. So the one thing you always have to do with my projects is you have to go in here into config, and you can either copy it. You know, we'll just rename it here. And this is where all your private information will kind of live, and we'll try to keep it as private as possible. We'll need a few other things for this project, but this is pretty much done. The only other step we'll need is to actually open up our terminal here. Zoom in a little bit. We'll just cd over to our desktop. That's where my project lives, right? DynamoDB demo here. I'm going to do an npm install to begin installing the packages that I need. It's going to take a few minutes, that's why I'm just going to get started. So scrolling down, you're going to need the AWS CLI tool. You don't necessarily need it, it's kind of recommended. I personally like to do some of the commands, like listing tables and things like that, using the CLI tool. So if you're on a Mac, you can just do brew install AWS CLI. Other than that, just Google it, you'll be able to find something on it. So we've ran this in npm install. We've changed this config.example to config.js. Now we'll need this actual DynamoDB local, so we can run on our local machine. So what I'm actually going to do here is I have a folder here called DynamoDB. I'm just going to delete it. And so I deleted that, and I actually just gave you a list of commands here, so you do have to download this. Shoot, it's still the wrong link. Here, I just changed it to be local. I don't know why it's the wrong link. I'll fix that after the video. And when that downloads, I'm gonna, oh shoot, I don't want to unzip it. Oh well. It's still there, zipped up. So I'm gonna switch to another tab, just doing Command T. On my terminal here, I'm just gonna run make directory in my root. Switch over to my root. And then unzip this this zip file inside this folder I'm currently in, and then then you run the DynamoDB locally using this command here, and so now it's running on port 8000. This will give you a couple instructions on configuring your settings. You know what, we're going to do it. So I have the AWS CLI tool installed. This is still installing, so I'll open up another tab. I'm just going to do AWS Configure. Foo, bar, and I'm just going to make it local and make it JSON. And so typically you actually put the IAM user key here and the secret key here and your region and the format you want. I want a JSON. And so if I go like this, I don't know if I'll actually have any. I think I just delete them all. We'll see. Yeah, so I have no tables. So I have everything installed. Everything's working because I'm getting a response back from this call. And so what next thing we're going to do is we're going to have to set up our actual tables here. So we're going to head over to our config folder here. We're just going to do create, and then we're going to call it table. I actually want to call it tables with an S. And then we're going to create a file called create. I think fruits is the example I use in the tutorial. I'm going to copy that one. So create fruits JSON. And I'm just jumping between these two, copying and pasting all of this. So my table is going to be called fruits table. Fruit ID will be my my primary key. And it will be a string. And that's everything, I think. So I'm just going to run the following command. It won't actually work, so I'm just going to do a pwd to find out where I am. So I gotta put the full path here. So I called my file create fruits, and this full path is user weird desktop DynamoDB _demo. Unable to find the file, so something's wrong with my path here. I think I put too many slashes in. I really should know the shortcut to jump to the end. Let's try this. No such file or directory. I called it fruits.db, right? Create fruits.json. You know what? Our other option is this. In Apple, you can, with an Apple computer, you can just actually go into the folder. Copy the path. So we want AWS DynamoDB create table, and then we want to use the CLI input on the JSON, and we want file // and then we want to paste it all in there. And then we want config, oh we already got all that, so we want create fruits.json, and we want to do this on our local host. There, I got it working. So essentially what I did was I created a table called fruits table, and I made just the fruit ID. It's the only thing that I'm going to have in my table that must be there, and it's how you're going to differentiate each object. So hopefully it's done installing. It is perfect. And so I'm actually going to close one of these tabs. I'm just going to run off 2 tabs here. Close this and close this. Now that I got all this working. So now if I run that same command where I list my tables, I should see one table. Fruits table. Perfect. And so we're going to begin to change our config file a little bit here. So we'll change it to be this, and then we call our table fruits table. This is going to be your local config, all set up there, and we're going to remove that. We can actually, we don't need this async stuff. It's going to be gone by the time you see this. And so next we're going to create a route. So this is just how we're going to interact with our actual thing. We're going to have get items from the table. We're going to have get all items, and we're going to have a put. And I'm going to show you how to do all three of those. If you want to know more about how to do specific items, check out the Amazon docs. So I'm actually just going to copy this entire script here, and I'm going to kind of just explain it. If I can copy it properly. Okay, so I'm going to start with add a fruit. So that's going to be the post here. So API/fruit, it's a post request, and it does a check to see if it's in production. If it is, if it's in development, it uses the local config, which is the one that connects to our port 8000 there. Otherwise, we'll use the remote config from the config file. We pass in a type and a color. We generate a fruit ID. This won't actually be unique. This should be a random number. There's other ways to actually generate a unique ID. Just Google it. Creating a unique ID with JavaScript. Then we're going to pass in a series of parameters here. So our table name, we have it, and then our item. This is what's going to be inserted into our NoSQL database. And continue to scroll down. Then we're going to do a put, and then essentially the callback, which we then pass back the fruit ID. And so that function is pretty simple, and we'll actually give it a try in a second. Actually, let's just do it now. Yeah. So we're just going to do an npm run start dev. So we want to be able to run in the development environment. And as it kicks off, I'm going to explain the get fruit. So this one's going to be passing in question mark ID equals and then the fruit ID. And so here we're going to do grab the variable, and then we're going to do a query where you can pass in the key condition here. So that's going to be what we're going to search up. It's going to be by fruit ID, and this I relates to this I, which is actually fruit ID. It's pretty simple. Again, I just pulled this all off the Amazon docs on actually how to do this. So this will get one single fruit. And last but not least, we're using a scan, not a query, where it just gives us everything in the table back. And so with that, let's try out all three calls. Make sure our server's up and running, so it is. I'm going to open up Advanced REST Client. So we're going to start with a post. So my method is post. My request ID is 8080/API/fruit. Headers is content type and application JSON. And then I head over my body and just change it to be the raw input and application JSON. And I mean, I've already done this, so actually it's already typed in there, but I just typed out type apple green with a comma there, and then color green. And if I hit send, the request goes through. So this is the fruit ID we generated. I mentioned that one nice thing about having the CLI tool installed is that you can do queries on it. So I'm just going to actually open up a new tab. So if we do AWS DynamoDB, then we do scan, and we do table name, we do fruits table. If I spell everything correctly, and I'll make this bigger, fruits table. As you can see, it's actually living in the database here, and so this is what our get fruits actually does. It's the exact same thing. So if we change this to be a get, and we change this to be fruits, and we still have the header content type, and we hit send, we get back our apple with that ID. And we're just going to copy the ID, and we're going to change it to be fruit, and we're going to say ID 123. And it returns nothing because that's not actually a valid one. If we change it to be this one, it returns a specific ID. And so these are kind of all a bunch of basic functions that you can perform with DynamoDB. One thing I really like with this with DynamoDB, if you have any questions regarding like how to perform calls and stuff, I found this file. I just found this here from SQL to NoSQL. is really nice. And so reading data from and it essentially just shows you some querying here. So if it was like, select star for music, and where you have two parameters, and you just scroll down here, it shows you how to do the exact same call but using the DynamoDB. And so I really like these docs, because if you come from an SQL world, you can think about it in a more NoSQL way for this actual table here. So that's just the actual local development for DynamoDB. I'm going to also come out with a video on setting up remote development and getting started with that.